Robinson Show.
Yo, this is Brandt.
Yo, Brandt Tobler, comedian, author, and actor in Denver, Colorado, correct?
That is all correct.
Cool. How long have you been doing stand-up for, Brandt? Because you are amazing.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I've been doing it about 15 years.
Wow. How long did it take to become established?
Oh, I'm still trying, man. I don't know. It's a up and down grind every day. So, like tonight, I'm opening for Tom Segura, sold out show. But then, the night before, I was at a crappy bar show and I ate it. So it's a lot of ups and downs, but it's a pretty cool job.
Cool. I want to ask too, over those years, what's the craziest thing you've seen go down performing?
Oh man, I've had people throw drinks at me, and I've had people try to fight me, throw drinks at me. One time I had my beer sitting up on the stage. I started in Vegas, so we had a lot of crazy shows. But I had a beer just sitting like at my feet, and this lady came up and just picked up the beer, and then I don't know if she really farted in it or pretended like she farted in it, and then just set it back down and just kept walking like it was nothing. So that was pretty crazy. But in Vegas, it was just a lot of we do these rundown bars that just would take comedy. So.
Wow.
And we'd have them until somebody got shot or stabbed, and then we'd go to a different bar.
God damn. You can't top that. You can't top a stabbing or shooting in the alley, bro.
Yeah, no, it's been a wild journey, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, for every time something really good happens, and the comedy gods kind of even it out, and then something really crappy happens.
Yeah. Oh my God. I just your whole I almost killed my father fucking bit was just one of my favorites. I want to ask, did you ever get to be thank you for telling that story. Have you ever gotten to do any pirating in Vegas?
No, I never made it to a pirate. I didn't. I was such a naive, dumb idiot when I moved there. I thought you could just get one of those jobs, and
right?
It didn't happen. You had to be a good-looking, muscular, good swimmer, all the stuff a pirate needs to be. So they did not hire me.
So you did apply for one and get the interview,
yeah.
And they were just like, you aren't pirate enough.
You're not pirate material, Brandt.
Yeah, they quickly informed us like that. Pirates are beautiful people, and we never stood a chance. So.
Like, were you depressed for at least a week after that? Like,
yeah, I mean, I still am. I think the only thing being better than a comedian would be being a pirate.
Yeah,
I would have liked to try it for at least a week or two.
at least give you that week.
Yeah.
God damn. And I also want to ask, as a runner, just for nobody that knows, as a runner in Vegas, you ran around with like $100,000 on a daily basis, right? Just betting.
Yeah. So I would always have at least $100,000 with me, sometimes in cash, but a lot of times it's in chips and like winning tickets. But I always had at least $40,000-$50,000 cash in my pocket. So that gives you a different kind of confidence that. Probably helped me later in life with comedy and women and stuff, because there's nothing like pulling out a wad of $10,000. It changes the whole dynamic of the room real quick.
I think
especially when you look like a young kid, everybody's like, "Wait, who's this guy? What's going on?" So
I think I got $6 in my pocket right now, Brandt.
Yeah. You know what?
Yeah, those days are gone. I miss having all that money. Trust me, as a comedian, I think I got $4 with me. So you're winning.
When I was listening to you tell that story of carrying all that money, in my mind, I'm just picturing this cartoon of just you holding like both hands out with like a mountain of money in them and just running out. Like a pyramid, no, just a pyramid of just cash, just like going back and forth.
Yeah, I'm always worried I dropped the dollar. I'm looking behind me. I'm like, I didn't drop that dollar, did I? Like, I can't imagine that, dude.
That's why I didn't like having chips, because chips could like fall out. But back I wore cargo shorts. Cargo shorts were the key, because you could keep a lot of money in cargo short pockets.
Did you have to have them all in your pockets? You couldn't have a briefcase?
No, I didn't. I kept everything on me. It was so if you were going to get it.
A bag with a dollar sign on it?
Yeah. I guess I could have handcuffed like a briefcase to my side. But
did you have like a... You have a dress shirt with pockets just in case you ran out of room on the cargo shorts. You can put some cash in the dress shirt pockets.
Or like an apron.
Yeah, I never had that. I mean, it's crazy how much money will fit in the cargo pocket. I think the most I ever had was probably $250,000, but it's just all wadded up in, wads of like 10,000 in rubber bands.
Were you ever like worried about getting like held up or robbed?
I got robbed at my house one time. A guy came in with a shotgun, but it was my roommate set me up. I wasn't really worried when I was on the strip because there's so many cameras, and since I knew what I was doing every day, I was there every single day, so I knew like the valet people, and I always just kept it moving. There was a couple times where I could feel people like sizing me up, but by the time they were concocting a plan, I was 2 casinos away. So the people that robbed me were just my father, and then my roommates set me up, and a guy came in with a shotgun and put it in my face and robbed me in my house. So
well, I want to. This sounds like it sounds like an amazing heist movie, though. I want to know how did your roommate set you up?
Yeah, no, they probably.
Well, he just, to be honest, I wasn't really thinking about. I mean, it happened at like Tuesday at like 2:00 in the afternoon, and there was a knock on the door, and I'm from Wyoming, like small town Wyoming, so I would just like come in because I didn't think anybody was going to rob me in the middle of the day, and this little Mexican gangster dude with all tatted up came in with a shotgun, and then it got pretty scary.
Wow.
Obviously, he didn't kill me, but he made me move. He put the gun in my back and took me into this room, and my roommate was in there fake crying like he wasn't in on it, and then I knew he was in on it, and then I called the police, and it was a crazy mess. I had to go to court, and his family tried to intimidate me and try to pay me off to not testify. They called me out there because I only had like $9,000 in cash on me when he did it, but then they were like, well, we'll offer you $500 not to go to court. I'm like, he stole $9,000 that they have as evidence, so I want that back. So it was a whole weird thing, man. It was not a good day.
Man, yeah, and you can't just this will just roll over with the boss. Yeah, no, you need to have that money. Wow. Goddamn.
Yeah, so that was probably the scariest day. Honestly, it's just I never thought I'd have a shotgun in my face.
Yeah,
but in the moment, honestly, I wasn't scared, which is weird. But then afterwards, I've had a couple crazy moments in my life where I could have died, but the weird thing is you don't really feel it till afterwards. And then I was like, oh God, I could have. Yeah. 'Cause I was on the patio at the Comedy Store one time. This guy just walked up maybe 10 feet away from me and shot this dude, killed him right next to me. And in the moment I had time, I was scared, and I was like, then later, the day or two later, I was like, God, he could have just turned and shot me. I was like next in line. So
yeah, that's when you realize it. I feel like in the moment you don't, but then no.
Yeah. It's crazy.
There was a kid I used to work with who came into work one day and was just like, he's like, I'm destroyed. I was just held up. I'm like, well, what happened? And he's like, I just got out of my car, and this guy came up to me, pointed a gun in my face, and he was like, give me all you got. And the kid was like, I laughed in his face, said I don't have anything, showed him my wallet that it was empty, and the guy left. And he was legitimately in the moment, he thought it was funny, but then it was afterwards, the rest of the night, this dude was wrecked, some guy just fucking pointed a gun in my face, but it didn't register until later on in the night,
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, you just don't know. At least for me, I just didn't know as it was happening. I was like, oh, this is, like I said, then a day or two later, I'm always like, I could have died. But in the moment, it's weird how you just, it's the same thing happened to me. He goes, give me all your money. I was like, I don't have any money. Then he turned around and he walked over and he shut the door and locked it. Like if you ever seen Bronx Tale, then he came back over. He said, give me all your money. I was like, I got some money now.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah, you got to give him something at that point. Yeah, it's like, what do I do? What do I do? Oh, my God.
It's an interesting, weird day, honestly, but I'm just happy it all worked out. Yeah. I survived, got my money back. I'm still here talking to you guys.
Yes, thank you. Thank the heavens for that. Brandt, I want to bring up your podcast because, dude, you have some amazing interviews. For 31 with Brandt Tobler, you ask 31 questions to a guest, correct?
Yeah, so 25 are the same, and then 5 are different for the guest, and then one is usually like an audience question, or one of my Patreons, if they have a question, I let them ask it. So I do that, and then my new one that everybody loves is just called Craigslist Chaos, where I just get on Craigslist and just call people and try to buy stuff and get jobs and join the Illuminati and learn how to rap, and just I never know where it's going to go. It's my favorite one. I just go on and I pick a city, and then anybody dumb enough to put their phone number, I call and I start talking to. So I do that one. Then I do one called Dead to Us with my girlfriend, which is a lot of fun. So we built a podcast studio in the house, so we do I just got done finishing a Craigslist right now, so
oh, that's
pretty fun.
But dude, just seeing some of your interviews, just fucking Ari Shaffir.
Oh yeah.
Brian Regan, Bert Kirshner,
Ari Shaffir, pretty much all the famous comics I've had. So it's Mark Norman, Sam Morrell, Brad Williams, Adam Ray. I've been lucky enough to have a bunch of them. So
yes, you have.
Anyone you haven't have that's like a dream interview?
Oh, I'm going to do a live one here in Denver at the Comedy Works. I'm trying to get some of the Broncos. I'm a huge Bronco fan, but I mean, like for me, Peyton Manning or John Elway would be huge. And I've been lucky enough to get most of the comedians I want. Like obviously, as comedian wise, would probably be like if I could get Dave Chappelle or something like that would be life changing. But he doesn't really do podcasts, so yeah, I've been pretty lucky. Comics are pretty cool. The bigger the comic I've met, the cooler they've been, because we all just kind of go through the same stuff in life. So I've been pretty lucky that all the comics are cool. Like I said, I'm doing the show with Tom Segura tonight. He's just doing a little 300-seat comedy club. But last time I saw him, he sold out 5,000 seats, 2 shows in one night. So he's just doing this because he wants to, but it's going to be probably an incredible night, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
That's great. I wanted to say, too, I did enjoy you hearing you say that Pauly Shore was one of your worst interviews, because I tried to get him years ago, and he never got back to me. So I'm kind of glad. He never got back to me.
Fuck Pauly. Yeah,
he was the worst. He was honestly the worst interview I ever had, because he got there and he brought some young-ass girl with him, and at about the 12-minute mark, he's like, you want to wrap this up? I was like, I think at the time he knew what podcasts were, so yeah. I think we got to like 25 minutes, and he didn't want to answer any questions, or he wasn't a mean guy, but I just don't think at the time he realized what podcasts were, and I think he was trying to promote something, so I think his publicist is the one that hit me up, so he was just making the rounds, but he just didn't really care about talking to me. So I get it. I was nobody, but it was just like I could have done without that one. That's pretty much the only bad one I've ever had.
Yeah, we one of my buddies, CJ Creech, he does a show with a guy named Dave Sheridan, who's a big actor, and he said, not Pauly Shore,
who was it? Was it? I don't know why I want to say Charlie Sheen, but
no,
I don't think it was.
I just had it on the top of my head and I lost it. But he said, Tom Green. He said Tom Green was the worst he ever had. He had Tom Green, and they asked him to say, would you say you're listening to the CJ and Dave and Creed show, and he just was like, oh, the phone's breaking up, and hung up on them.
Oh, really? Yeah, I've done shows with him. He's really cool in person, but I asked him to be on the pod. He was not that interested. Some of these guys are so famous, they just don't care.
Yeah.
Maybe it's also just like he rather just do stuff in person than like over the phone.
Yeah. It's a funny thing that I've kind of realized is now that a lot of my friends have got famous, it's kind of hurt my feelings when I reached out to them and they didn't get back to me. But then I also realized I only reach out to them when I'm asking for shit, so it's kind of on me too. It's like there's probably 100 people like me asking for stuff. So I try to be more fair about it. A couple times I was like, I can't believe you didn't text me back, and then I thought, and I was like, you know what? Every time I reach out, I'm asking for stuff. And
how dare you? How dare you?
It's like somebody
100 requests.
It's like somebody you knew from years ago, and now they're a famous comedian, and now you're texting them, and you're like, why didn't they get back to me?
God damn it!
I learned my lesson.
Oh my God, Brandt. I wanted to ask, have you ever thought of doing a comedy show called BRANDTOBLERFEST?
Ooh.
Brandt Toblerfest?
Yeah, like Oktoberfest, but the Brandt Toblerfest.
Like Toblerfest, October. That's not a bad idea, actually. No, I haven't.
Cool.
I barely do one show, setting up a whole fest, but that's not a bad idea.
Or
somebody wants to set it all up, they are welcome to put my name on it.
Or like a comedy festival.
I was going to say, Rob, like, what would that be? What would Brandt Toblerfest be?
It would be everything. Everything you didn't know you needed in your life is Brandt Toblerfest.
It would be, crab legs and White Claws and comedy. That's my life, man. I keep it pretty simple, honestly.
Damn right. A bucket of White Claws.
Brett, I'm always curious because you had said earlier about the woman that was farting in your beer that you had. So do you have to drink a little bit to do comedy? Because like I drink a lot every week to do a show, and I can't do it sober. I've tried sober, and I'm just terrible sober. I'm pretty bad drunk too, but like I'm a little better drunk. So like, do you drink a little for creative reasons?
Well, no, I do, just because I like to drink, and I don't have to, but I definitely prefer it. So
nice.
I'll probably, like the bigger shows, it might just be, I'll once I get to the club, I'll have a beer, and then, when I get in trouble is 2 show nights. So if I do the first show, then I hang out with the audience after, and they're like, they had fun, and they're like, hey, can I buy you a drink or a shot? I'm bad at saying no to that. When you're a broke comic, you just take you just have that comedy mentality, like, oh, if it's free, I need it. So that's when it gets me in trouble, is the 2 show nights. But I can unfortunately do 45 minutes drunk off my ass with no problem. I can put it in the cruise control pretty easy.
Nice. I want to ask too, Brandt, about your book, Free Roll. I want to ask what free roll means. Is it like free roll of the dice?
Well, it stems from that. Free roll, it's a gambling term of like, it's like a free roll. It's the easiest way to explain it is like if I gave you 2 dice and I say, if you roll a 7, you get $100. If you roll anything else, you get nothing, you lose nothing. So it's just a free roll, a free shot.
Gotcha.
So it's just like a gambling term that, I kind of talk about it, but then there's like free rolled and free roll for disaster. So the same thing would be called, if I gave you 2 dice, instead of you roll a 7, you owe me $100. But if you roll anything else, nothing happens. So it's just a gambling term that I didn't know until I started gambling. So that's where it all stems from. And then I write up a kind of, in the introduction, I kind of explain it a little more. So if you're looking for a good book, I recommend it. I recommend it on audio because I read the whole thing.
Oh, that's cool. I've never heard anyone that said they've read their own book.
Yeah, a lot of times they hire like Paul Giamatti or something.
Yeah.
But I tell you, I see why, because I did it. It was the hardest 2 days of my life. Because the girls, there's 2 women that helped me produce it, and they're like, you need to go home and rest. I was like, why? I wrote the shit. I'll be able to read it. And it is so hard. I would mess up. It was two long 9-hour days. And both nights I got home and I was asleep within like a half an hour.
Wow.
I don't know what it is. It's just the frustration of you just read sentences over and over. And like, I wouldn't say Brandt Tobler. I'd say Tramp Bobler sometimes. It's like, damn it, Brandt. You can't even get your own name right. So shit like that was frustrating. But overall, it's a cool experience. I'm so proud of it. It's like, I'm an idiot. I dropped out of junior college. I never thought I'd ever write a book. So it's something I'm so proud of. So if there's any of your listeners that are thinking about writing a book, if this idiot can do it, you definitely can do it. Just sit down and do it.
I was going to ask you, though, as a natural storyteller that you are, like, was it different than writing stand-up or telling any other type of story you've ever told?
A couple of the stories, I think that's what helped me get the book started, is because I had natural stories I did on stage. So it was easy for me to just write them down, and then I had something. So instead of just starting at the beginning, I wrote down 3 or 4 of the stories I use on stage. And then, just like that, I got 10,000 words and I'm off and running. Whereas if I'd have just started from the beginning, because I didn't just write it start to finish, I kind of pieced it together, which helped me. So I wrote the middle. The middle was the easiest part. Then I went and interviewed my mom about my childhood and stuff, and then the ending, I wrapped it all together. But I kind of jumped around. But being a storyteller definitely helped, because I had kind of written half the book on stage before I even dreamed of writing a book.
That's amazing. And what upcoming shows do you have, Brandt, that you could tell our audience?
I'm around here a bunch. I'm trying to stay off the road as much as I can. So I got a lot of stuff in Denver. I'm doing a big show in Cheyenne, Wyoming. That's my hometown. So I'm doing that March 27th. I'm doing a live 31 April 8th at Comedy Works here in Denver. Then I'm back. I'm trying to stay at home as much as I can, and then I go to Vegas. I think the last week of August, and that's about it right now. We'll see what else. I'm doing a lot of local stuff just because I like to stay here with my girlfriend and my dog.
Have you ever run into your dad out in Vegas since the?
No, I don't know where he's at. I haven't spoken to him since the day we tried to kill him, and that's like 19 years ago. So I've heard rumors of where he's at, but I don't know. I don't know where he's at.
Kato's a badass.
Kato's a badass.
So he's still alive, though. Like, you know that much.
He's definitely alive.
I know he's still alive. I talked a little bit to a few of my relatives on that side, and I really only talked to them to kind of get an update. I think he might be up in Washington, but
is he in senior?
No news is good news. I'm hoping to keep this streak alive of not seeing him. I'm as morbid as it is to say, I'm waiting for that call. To say he's dead. And
I was going to ask if he was going for his master's degree, Brandt.
What's that?
I was going to ask if he was going for his master's degree.
Yeah, he might be. Who knows?
I want to know more about. I want to know more about your cousin Kato. Like, has Kato turned around? Like,
does Kato have a podcast?
Yeah, like, what is Kato doing?
Kato's great, man. Kato's doing good. He runs a business. He has this beautiful like '64 Impala that he spends most of his time working on. But he's still Kato. He's grown up. He's got an awesome girlfriend now, and he's a stepdad helping take care of her kids. So I mean, it's still in him. If I need him, he'll be here in a second. But
he'll go full Kato.
We've all tried to grow up and settle down for sure.
Yes, he is the best. Brandt, thank you.
He's the best.
He is the best. You are the best, Brandt. You are the best, dude.
Guys, thanks for having me on. I got to run and hop in the shower for the show, but call me anytime. I'd love to be on the show again.
I would
Thank you. It's been an honor, Brandt.
dude. Yes, it's been an honor. Later, dude.